Hi friends, hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Get ready, get comfortable, because today we are diving into a case that plays out exactly like a high-stakes Hollywood psychological thriller. But it happened in real life, right in the middle of one of the most exclusive, wealthy neighborhoods in Southern California. It is a story about absolute obsession, a double life wrapped in designer silk, and how a tiny, digital slip-up completely obliterated a marriage, sparked a massive criminal investigation, and ended with a jaw-dropping confession right in the middle of a crowded courtroom. This is the story of Amanda Vance. Now, if you looked at Amanda back in 2024, you would think she had completely won at life. She was 34 years old, staggeringly beautiful, and married to Richard Vance, a wildly successful, incredibly wealthy 42-year-old corporate defense attorney. They lived in this massive, multi-million-dollar mansion in a private gated community, drove matching luxury vehicles, and hosted these grand charity galas. To their neighbors, they were the absolute golden couple of the valley. But behind those heavy, polished front doors, Amanda was living inside a state of profound, secret boredom. She loved the wealth, but she absolutely detested the routine. And by the summer of 2024, that boredom drove her to make a decision that would throw a match directly into a powder keg. She began a highly passionate, deeply reckless secret affair with a 26-year-old personal trainer named Julian Cross. Julian was young, incredibly handsome, and completely manipulative. And very quickly, Amanda's little secret distraction mutated into a toxic, all-consuming obsession that she was willing to do absolutely anything to protect. So, Amanda and Julian are sneaking around for months, right? They are meeting up at cheap motels, exchanging these incredibly graphic, explicit text messages, and planning this grand, delusion-filled future where they run away together using Richard's massive bank accounts. Amanda truly believed she was a criminal mastermind, completely hiding her digital tracks. But remember, her husband, Richard, is a high-level corporate defense attorney. The man literally looks for inconsistencies and hidden data for a living. By October 2024, Richard noticed a massive change in his wife's behavior. She was suddenly keeping her phone face down on the counter, changing her passwords every single week, and spending hours away from home under the guise of late-night grocery runs. One evening, while Amanda was asleep, Richard decided to look through their shared cloud server on his personal laptop. And oh my goodness, friends, he didn't just find a clue. He hit a complete goldmine of betrayal. He uncovered months of synced text logs, intimate photographs, and detailed bank transfers detailing how Amanda had been siphoning thousands of dollars from their joint accounts to pay for Julian's private apartment lease. Richard was completely devastated, but he didn't confront her right away. He was an attorney. He wanted data. He quietly downloaded every single file onto an encrypted external drive, left it on his office desk, and went to sleep, preparing to file for an aggressive divorce the next morning. But when he woke up, the encrypted laptop and the drive were completely gone. Amanda had caught on. This is where the story takes a wildly chaotic, dark turn. Amanda realized that Richard had found out about the affair and the stolen money. She knew that a high-profile divorce would completely strip her of her luxury lifestyle, her status, and her access to his millions. So, instead of confessing, she decided to execute an incredibly sinister backup plan. The very next afternoon, Amanda ran into the local police precinct in a state of absolute, manufactured hysteria. Her clothes were intentionally disheveled, and she had faint, light bruising on her wrists. She screamed to the detectives that she had been brutally assaulted and blackmailed inside her own home. And who did she point the finger at? Her secret lover, Julian Cross. She claimed that Julian had become an obsessive, unhinged stalker who broke into her house, stole her husband's laptop to extract financial data, and threatened to destroy her family if she didn't pay him $500,000. The police moved incredibly fast. They swarmed Julian's gym, arrested him in front of his clients, and placed him in heavy restraints. When they searched his apartment, they actually found Richard's missing laptop tucked away in his closet. Julian was completely bewildered, crying at the metal table and screaming that he was innocent, that Amanda had willingly given him the laptop the night before as a gift. But on paper, it looked completely open and shut. Julian was officially charged with high-level extortion, burglary, and grand larceny, facing a massive prison sentence. So, we fast forward to the trial in the spring of 2025. This case became an absolute media circus in Orange County. You have the wealthy, beautiful housewife standing as the star victim witness for the state, and the handsome young trainer painted as this predatory, money-hungry extortionist. Amanda took the witness stand, looking completely poised, elegant, and demure. She gave this incredibly moving, tear-filled testimony about how terrified she was of Julian, detailing his alleged threats to her life and her marriage. The jury was completely transfixed, visibly nodding their heads in sympathy. Julian's defense team looked like they were facing a completely hopeless battle. But remember, friends, the truth loves the light. Julian's defense attorney, a brilliant woman named Sarah Martinez, had been quietly working behind the scenes with a specialized digital forensics team. They had secured a subpoena for the raw, unedited network data towers directly from the cell phone providers, data that Amanda didn't know existed and couldn't delete from the server. As the prosecutor wrapped up his questioning, Sarah Martinez stood up for the cross-examination. She didn't raise her voice. She walked calmly to the center of the courtroom, holding a thick, bound manila folder. She looked directly at Amanda and asked a very specific question. "Mrs. Vance, you claim you had no contact with my client on the night of October 14th, correct?" Amanda confidently replied, "Absolutely none. I was terrified in my room." Sarah smiled, opened the folder, and said, "Then let's look at the tower pings." "Oh, you guys," the room went completely dead silent. Sarah Martinez walked over to a large digital monitor and displayed the raw metadata logs. The log showed that on the exact night Amanda claimed she was hiding in terror, her personal cell phone had exchanged over 40 text messages with Julian. And the contents of those texts? It wasn't fear, it was strategy. She had texted Julian, "I found where Richard keeps the backups. I am bringing the laptop to your place at midnight. Hide it in your closet, so he thinks we are being targeted by an outside hacker. We can use this to clean the accounts." Amanda had literally framed her own lover to hide her financial theft from her husband, completely unaware that the digital trail would survive her deletion attempts. The secret affair didn't just collapse. It completely imploded in a matter of seconds. Amanda sat frozen on the witness stand, her face draining of all color as her jaw literally dropped open. The entire courtroom erupted into absolute chaos. Her husband, Richard, stood up from the front row, stared at her with a look of pure, icy disgust, and walked out of the courtroom doors, immediately instructing his legal team to freeze every single asset. The judge halted the trial on the spot. All criminal charges against Julian Cross were dropped completely, and Amanda Vance was immediately taken into custody right there in her designer dress, subsequently charged with perjury, filing a false police report, and grand theft. It is a wildest story of how absolute greed and a false sense of security can completely blind a person. Amanda tried to build a fantasy world out of lies and manipulation, believing her wealth made her bulletproof, but a simple, unbendable digital log stripped it all away. But I want to know what you guys think about this spectacular courtroom breakdown. Can you even imagine the pure shock of that moment? Let's talk about it down in the comments below, and please keep the discussion incredibly respectful and fun. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Take care of yourselves, look out for each other, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. Bye.